Welcome to the Hyperpolyglot Activist. Learn languages, make a difference. My name is Dr. Carlos Yebra Lopez, and today I'm here to explain to you how to obtain an assistant professorship in the tenured track. So, I've heard that you've sent your first applications. Congratulations. What should you do now? Well, first of all, you should open a Google Docs or equivalent and write it down. Write down the name of the institution and the position you apply for. Number one, this institution, this position. Number two, in chronological order of application. This does two things for you. First, it sends a direct message to your brain that you are making progress, which is good, especially if you're in the job market for the long run. Second, it gives you statistics. The more applications you send, the more significant are going to be these statistics. For instance, if you have applied to 20 jobs, and out of those, the last 10 jobs you apply for, which were lectureships, 8 of those send you an email for an interview. Whereas out of the last 5 assistant professorships you applied for, none of them got back to you. That sends you a clear message. The market is reading you in terms of lecturer as opposed to assistant professor. Why is that? Could you change that? Should you change that? That's a different discussion. But at least now you have that information. Hey, I am much more likely to obtain a position as a lecturer than I am as an assistant professor. So what do I do with this? Do I change my CV or the direction of my career so that it fits better the job ads related to assistant professorships? Or do I forget about assistant professorships and go all in for lectureships? It's up to you. But that data is useful. Second, do not get complacent. Yes, you've sent an application. Yes, it did take you a lot of trial and error and time and tribulations. But from a statistical perspective, it is almost insignificant. Unless you're telling me that you know somebody who works in that department and is your best friend forever, etc., etc., chances are you literally have between a 0.5% and a 2% of chances of getting selected. You're one application within a context of 200 to 250 competitive applications. So yes, well done, but don't get complacent, keep going. Third, do not contact the institution. Trust me on this, do not contact the institution. They're not going to give you good news and you're going to come across as desperate, which will decrease the interest in your application. The only time you should contact the institution is to communicate an ultimatum. If you have received an offer from another institution, which will be around February or March, so you don't really need to worry about this at this point. Then if you have an offer and the institution that has given you the offer has told you, hey, you have 10 days to make a decision, and you are on the 5th day, then you can send an email to other institutions you have applied saying, hey, I've been given 5 days to answer. So if you don't make an offer within these 5 days, I will have to withdraw my application. Then it makes sense. But unless you're in that type of situation, it is not in your best interest to contact the institution. It is actually against it. Now, because the market nowadays, it's so one-sided, meaning institutions have a lot of power, whereas applicants have very little power. Ghosting, not following through, not communicating with applicants whose applications are no longer under consideration has become the norm. I'll say 60, 65%, maybe even 70% of institutions you applied to are not going to get back to you saying your application is no longer under consideration. They're not even going to send that automatic email. Therefore, don't take it personally. It's just the nature of the game. If you're not ready for that, you're not ready to be in the job market. Now, this behavior has caused a reaction, which is the academic wiki. Let me introduce you to this platform. I'm going to show you the academic wiki for the 2024-2025 academic year because the current one, 2025-2026, is still in its infancy, so it doesn't have enough data to be useful for explanatory purposes. So if you go to academicjobs.fandom.com/wiki, you will find a number of fields, and there you have the job postings for that field, the demographics, general discussion questions, inquiries, free advice, word on the street, acknowledgements, rejections. So here is where you're going to find out if you are no longer under consideration, pretty much. So if you scroll down, you'll see that, for instance, here, right, you have Zoom, Skype, or phone interviews, meaning first round interviews. And say on March 19th, for a position in Spanish and Portuguese advertised by Kenyon College, 3 people, this is what it means, multiply by 3, 3 people have said that they have received an offer for a Zoom interview. If it is March 20th, March 22nd, March 25th, let alone March 30th or later, and you haven't received an email from Kenyon College with a Zoom interview offer, then it means that your application is no longer under consideration. You can just cross it from your list. Okay? So that's what this page is going to give you. It's going to give you bad news, because if it's good news, the institution will directly contact you before you see it on this page. So it's only going to give you bad news, but at least it's going to give you clarity. Yes, you failed. Yes, your application is no longer under consideration, but at least now you know that, and you can focus your emotional investments, your energy in the applications that are still under consideration. Do people lie on this website? Yes, but not enough that is statistically significant. So if you see a message like this, Kenyon College, especially if 3 people have co-signed, this is very, very reliable. You can bet 99% that this is true information. So you can find privileged first-hand, second-hand, etc. information on first-round interviews, campus interviews, right? So here again, same thing. Lower Columbia College sent a campus interview on March 20th. Probably right. We don't know, but it's probably true. So if it's March 25th and you haven't received a campus interview, you, my friend, are not in the final cut. Okay? And then you can even see, this is the most painful one, when the offer was made and if it was accepted or rejected. So maybe you see that the offer was made and you think it's the end, but it says offer made and rejected. Well, now you know that the position in principle went to somebody else, but that somebody else rejected that, which means you are still in the run for the position in question, right? Say if you were invited to the campus interviews, there were typically 2 or 3 candidates. They made an offer, candidate 1 rejected, and there are only 1 or 2 more candidates, and one of those is you. Now you are in a very strong position. And finally, you can even geek on the specifics of the offer. How much money did they offer for this position? And that will give you a clue as to how to negotiate for your own offer, right? Now, you're not going to say during the negotiation stage, hey, I heard on Academic Wiki that for a Midwest tenure track position, they were offering a salary of $57,500. Therefore, you should pay me that much. No, but you're going to use that to gauge whether they're making you a legitimate offer or they're trying to lowball you. Okay? All right. And to top it all off, you also have some gossip. Here in this section you're about to see, you can see the rejections too, which is helpful. But more importantly, for gossip purposes, you can see word on the street. What are people saying about these specific positions? Sometimes it's information from insiders that you're not aware of, but it will be in your best interest to take into account. For instance, this position looks attractive, but the last 4 people who accepted it ended up leaving the institution in under 1 year. What does that tell you? It tells you that the position is great on paper, but it's not great in practice. Dysfunctional department, horrible colleagues, horrible students, all of that combined, something is up. Okay. So this is also very useful. Again, if you're going to see some people lying, it's going to be on this one, word on the street, because it's more generic, it's more vague. So it's really hard to pin down who says what, and people like to gossip. So likely you're seeing some misleading information here, but you can also find some useful one. It's up to you to discern, to disambiguate. And that's it. Other than these pieces of advice I've given you in this video, there's nothing else you can do really, other than waiting and keeping applying. Best of luck.